This is Bob. Bob was just born. According to Piaget, this puts Bob in the sensor-motor stage, where he will stay for the first year of his life. During this stage, Bob has no rules. All he does is crawl around and put stuff in his mouth all day. Why? Because as the word sensor-motor suggests, Bob is exploring his senses while working on his gross motor movement. At some point during this stage, Bob learns about object permanence. This means that even though he cannot see Mom's face behind her hands, Bob still knows that Mom's face exists. Bob has now turned 2. For the next 4 years, he will be going through the so-called pre-operational stage. Bob can now walk and is working on controlling his fine motor movements. During this stage, Bob also learns basic stuff, such as how to count, how to take turns in games, and how to do multivariable calculus. Okay, maybe not that last part. During these years, Bob has some problems. The two main ones are centration and egocentrism. Centration means that Bob can only focus on one aspect of things at a time. He might complain about receiving one big cookie instead of 5 small ones. Here, Bob is centrated on the number of cookies rather than size. Egocentrism means that Bob is unable to see the world from other perspectives than his own. When telling Grandma about his day in kindergarten, Bob will talk about his friends as if Grandma knows them. Because when Bob knows a person, everybody knows that person. When turning 7, Bob enters the concrete operational stage. For the next 5 years, Bob will be learning a lot of important concepts, such as cause and effect, reversibility, and conservation. Having learned about cause and effect, Bob now understands that if he throws a dart at a balloon, it pops. He also understands that if he puts his dog in a blender, it dies. When learning about reversibility, Bob begins to understand that some things that have been changed can be turned back to their original state. He learns that by adding 2 to 3, he gets 5, and by removing the 2 again, the number returns to the original 3. By learning the concept of conservation, Bob learns that even though the shape of something changes, the amount of that thing remains the same. When water is transferred from a small and wide glass to a tall and thin glass, Bob now recognizes that the glass still holds the same amount of water. The final stage of Piaget's theory, the formal operational stage, begins around the age of 12. From now on, Bob is able to think abstractly and philosophically about things, allowing him to solve complex problems. Bob is now getting ready to enter adulthood, and he is certainly on his way to become a great man.